I am God. I'm making a video about a woman I used to know called Neringa. Neringa. Her name was Neringa Ad. She's now Neringa Rippington, which is, well, she got married to a man. So I made a video recently, and I was speaking about the YouTube channel, which is called Chosen 144. There's an Australian guy called Salvatore Vecchio, and he has a wife, and she has a YouTube channel called Light 144. And I was watching his wife's videos, Light 144, and I just kept looking at her, and I just kept thinking, she really reminds me of Neringa for some reason. I just kept getting this feeling like she's like a doppelganger of Neringa, a woman I haven't spoken to for, I don't know, at least 10 years, probably. So 10 years ago, or yeah, more than 10 years ago, I used to have a friend, a man I used to call friend, and his name was Patrick Marshall Andrew. And he had a girlfriend. She was Neringa Ad. She's a woman from Lithuania, which is really interesting, right? Because my ex-girlfriend, my last girlfriend, who I haven't seen, my last girlfriend, right? I separated from her about 12 or 13 years ago. She was from Poland, and her name was Ania. A-N-I-A. And obviously Neringa was from Lithuania, right? Lithuania. It's an interesting little magic trick, you see. That's what it is. It's word magic. Not to mention, well, that's the thing. Why is Neringa so important? Well, that's the thing. She had sex in my bed. And there are all these witches, and they're all trying to use magic, chariot magic. You see, in tarot, there is a card, and it's called the Chariot. Here it is, okay? It's a Cancerian card. Patrick is actually a Cancerian, so this is the tarot card that's associated with him. Now, the Chariot is, most people interpret it as moving forward. Moving forward. And it's the car. But you see, the Chariot is actually the bed. It's the bed. It's where people have sex. Right? It's the car and it's the bed. Why the fuck do you think Elon Musk sent one of his Teslas into outer space? Yeah, he did do that, didn't he? Yeah, I think he did. Why would he do that for, do you think? Yeah, it's sex magic. And he's a doppelganger of Patrick. Yeah, he is. He's got a lot of doppelgangers, actually. A lot of body doubles. Yeah. See them all over the place. I hate Patrick. I haven't been friends with him for a long time. Neringa, when she so what happened was Patrick and Neringa had sex in my bed. I think it was would have been around New Year's Eve or something like that, or I think it was New Year's. It was a long time ago. And I remember I was sitting with Patrick's sister in my lounge. It was something like that. Yeah. I couldn't tell you the exact details, but Neringa and Patrick definitely had sex in my bed. And because that took place, well, that's been a curse on my life. Yeah, it's been a curse to me. And of course, I'm really fucking angry about it, as you can imagine. I mean, I haven't had sex for 12 years. I'm God, and the world hates me and wants to kill me. You know, Neringa, her new surname is Rippington. You know, rest in peace. Yeah, God, rest in peace. Yeah, by God. Don't need you anymore, and you can fucking die. Yeah? Curse me, bitch. That's what you've done. And you know, there's this, so the Australian guy, well, that's the other thing as well, because the club that we used to go to, you know, I used to go with Patrick and Neringa a lot, was a club called Audio. And before I even met, you know, back in when I was a teenager, there was an Australian guy who was working at the club called Audio, and his name was Steve, and he was a bisexual guy, and I let him stay at a temporary accommodation flat that I had from the council. So he stayed there. I gave him the keys. I let him stay there because I wasn't staying there because it was freaking. I didn't want to stay there. That was a very long time ago. That was on Broad Street in Brighton. 31 Broad Street, I think. No, was it? I can't remember. It was Broad Street anyway. But Steve, he stayed with me for a while in my council flat, which was, you know, and he had sex in my bed with some random hoe he found at the club. Yeah. Yeah. See, you know, back then, you know, I thought I was just being friendly, just whatever, I don't care. But it became a curse. These people cursed me. Because they reject me. I say I'm God, they reject me. They want to think they're God. They're the ones who are fucking in God's bed. Yeah. So Neringa, Neringa, well, you know, that's the thing, right? You know, it's a kind of code word for sodomy, you know, because the anus is like a ring. Yeah, you know, you've heard of Lord of the Rings, haven't you? Yeah, get on your knees, ring, yeah, knee ring, yeah. Not to mention, I'm sure I spoke to her on the phone before, probably. Maybe, yeah, probably. Anyways, after she broke up with Patrick, because he was a cheating piece of shit, she ditched him. I never heard from her ever again, so, she obviously never gave a shit about me anyway, so. I wish I never stuck up for her, to be quite honest. Fucking cunt. Anyways, let's do a tarot reading for Neringa. The Fool is the very first card. Yeah, number 0. It's the, that's the number associated with the Fool card. The 0. Nothing. Yeah, the Fool. Yeah, you see that Fool sort of partying, having a great fucking time. I mean, I looked at Neringa's Facebook profile, and she's got a husband, she's got a family, she's got kids. She looks like she's having an amazing life. While I sit surrounded by garbage, wishing I was dead. Anyways, there's the Fool card. Yeah. And then we have the 9 of Pentacles, the 9 of Coins. So, yeah, someone who's independently wealthy, something like that, yeah. The Tower, so that's destruction. You know, this is about sodomy. It's about destruction. It's a sex magic card. It represents the phallus. It represents the destruction of the anus, I would say. You know, ripping ton. Yeah, ripping ton, yeah. So. I mean, see, the Nine of Pentacles, the Nine of Coins, I mean, it shows a woman, right? But, you know, obviously it can be me. I mean, obviously, my mum, who's dead now, right? Her name was Fee. So that's the thing, right? Female. You know, it's not supposed to represent a particular sex. It's, you know, it doesn't have to. It just, you know, it's Nine of Coins. It's someone who's independently wealthy. That's generally the meaning of the card, right? Which is what I am, right? And the Tower. So here's, you know, destruction. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I didn't want to fall out with her. I really didn't want to fall out with her. I didn't want her to be my enemy, but guess what? I guess she is. Wow. Anyways. What's that? The Eight of Coins, right? So that's dedication to craft. You know, that's some, you know, that it shows someone chiseling away, working away at a, you know, it normally depicts someone chipping, you know, doing witchcraft, right? It's creating a pentacle. It's dedication to craft, right? That is about magic. And then there's the Ace of Pentacles. So this is talking about, this is butthole. This is magic. It's trying to stick, because the pentacle, it's supposed to be a coin. You know, it represents coin, it represents earth, and it has the pentagram in it, which is the earth, air, fire, water, and spirit, which is called the fifth element, right? So, you know, Neringa's been trying to do a destiny swap with me, just pretty much, which is basically, well, that's basically anyone who doesn't love me, that's what they're trying to do, right? The entire world wants the destiny swap with me. But I guess I wasn't paying enough attention to what Neringa had done to me, right? Because she's really got in my fucking way. And Patrick, of course. Let's not forget Patrick, that piece of shit. Here's the Justice card. Yeah, so Justice. Okay, so what's this about justice then? I like these cards. I like this deck of cards. It's nice to look at, but it's not the best for shuffling. Okay, so there's the King of Coins, right? So he's King of Pentacles. So so you know, he's a man who's very rich. Yeah, he's supposed to be a man who's rich. Well, he has a lot of money, or maybe he's had a lot of buttholes. That can be another way this card can come out. But anyway, Justice, King of Coins. Yeah, okay, King of Pentacles. This is really getting on my nerves. Okay. King of Cups. King of Potions. Okay, I mean, I know it looks like a woman, but you can see there it says King of Potions. It's actually a woman. It looks like a woman, right? Sitting on top of a giant metal robotic crab of some sort, right? It's like some giant, or whatever, right? It's King of Cups. That's what it is. And then we have the Queen of Wands. So, obviously that's a woman. She's all about fire, passion, sex, cock, that kind of stuff, right? Being a witch, of course, yeah. And then we have the Four of Wands. So this is the, it's community. These people you see, they're out partying together, having a good time. It's community. This is a lot of interesting cards. Where's it going? And then we have the Four of Potions, or Four of Cups, which is called, it's the self-serving disinterest card. It's, it's when, as an example, I'm God. I'm trying to have a relationship with people, right? I'm God, I'm the creator. And I want to have a relationship with people. But people are Four of Cups. They're like, no, don't care. And then there's the Ten of Coins, which is all about, it can be family, it can be, but it's really about money. It's material shit. It's maximum materialistic shit, right? And then there's the Wheel of Fortune, which is about, there's my, it's fortune. You know what fortune is, right? Wheel of Fortune, this is talking about destiny and fate. It's about destiny, Yeah, the Destiny Swappers, they love this fucking card. They really do. And then there's the Magician card. Okay. And then I've got Nine of Potions, Nine of Cups. And then Page of Coins. King of Wands, Two of Cups, so that's, so it's a man with his big stick, probably, King of Wands. He's over a very powerful, he's over a very powerful magician, or he's got a big stick between his legs, or both. And then you got the Two of Cups, which is, people getting together, right? Getting it on, having sex. The Lover's card, yeah. And then the Emperor, yeah. Five of Coins, so that's, people left out in the cold, or people losing their money, or they're people who don't go to church. It's one of those, or a combination of those. And then we got the Death card, Page of Swords. These are people who are stupid, I guess. Probably that's what it's talking about. Three of Pentacles, Three of Coins, so people working together. The Sun. So the sun, obviously, you know what the sun is, right? I am the light of the world, right? Anyway, the sun. You know, this card is interpreted as happiness. You know, what makes you happy? That's what your sun is. Yeah, forget God, right? And then you got the Nine of Swords. So someone who can't sleep at night, having a rough time in bed, having some nightmares, or maybe riding some whores in the middle of the night. That kind of thing, right? Some mares. Then we got the Two of Pentacles, so that's someone who's juggling, switching, maybe having lots of sexual partners or something like that. Or it could be talking about balance, maybe. Six of Coins, this is sharing. Sharing. This card could mean so many things. Giving money to charity, or sex trafficking. It could mean a whole bunch of things, but sharing is the easiest way to. Yeah. Anyways, there's the High Priestess. Yeah, the number 2. The shit intuition woman. And then there's the Eight of Cups. So, Eight of Cups is, not really caring very much, not interested in emotion or love, just basically don't give a shit, just, or it could be disappointed as well. It could be disappointment. It could also be having an enema or a douche. What you ate, got to wash that stuff out, right? If you're doing sodomy, of course. I mean, otherwise it's, yeah. Anyways, what else we got here? The Hermit. Yeah, I guess that's probably me, or maybe it's talking about some man's meat between his legs. There's the Ten of Cups, so interesting card. There's the unhappy person there, but all these people really happy. You see that rainbow. Like you see the man. He's got his sharp teeth. Looking a bit like a vampire. With his happy family. All while this person down here is miserable. Yeah. And then there's the Five of Potions. That's Five of Cups. That's unhappiness. That's unhappiness, right? So, what the heck are these cards saying? So, the Fool, Nine of Pentacles, the Tower, Eight of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, Justice, King of Coins, King of Cups, Queen of Wands, Four of Wands, Four of Cups, Ten of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, the Magician, Nine of Cups, Page of Coins, King of Wands, Two of Cups, the Lovers, the Emperor, Five of Coins, Death, Page of Swords, Three of Coins, the Sun, Nine of Swords, Two of Coins, Six of Coins, the High Priestess, Eight of Cups, the Hermit, Ten of Cups, Five of Cups. So what I really get from this, Neringa is a witch, and there are lots of them. These people, they don't, these people reject me, God. They reject me, they hate me, they don't love me. They never did, and they never will. And these people, they like to fool, they like to play the fool. They like to go around doing what they want to do. I'm in charge, I'm God now. That's what they're doing, right? That's Patrick, that's Neringa. Yeah, that's what they are. The Fool, 9 of Coins, the Tower, 8 of Coins, Ace of Coins, Justice. Now, I don't know what star sign Neringa is. Maybe she's a Libra. Yeah. That's the thing about tarot, right? Because, the Justice card, it's a woman, right? She has a sword in her right hand, and the scales, the scales of justice are in her left hand, right? So what's this? 8 of Coins, Ace of Coins, Justice. Right, so this is the thing, right? Because Neringa has tried to destiny swap with me, and because if everything happened, she had sex in my bed, right? And Patrick has been trying to pretend he's good, right? So, yeah, it's a real. I've been attacked by many, many witches. But so it seems to me that Neringa has tried to create what she wants as justice. They've been working together to change the rules to what they want. Justice, King of Coins, King of Cups, Queen of Wands, Four of Wands, Four of Cups, Ten of Pentacles, right. Well, this is the thing, right? Because the Justice card, right? The woman, she's called Lady Justice. And obviously, well, that's the thing, right? Because it's a trick, right? Because obviously, if I have sex with a woman in my bed, well, I'm laying down on top of her with my dick, my lady, right? Lady Justice, right? And so she's been using this magic power to try to influence, right? So there's the King of Coins, the King of Cups, Queen of Wands, Four of Wands, right? So, this is all about, society being about the rich and, probably the drunks as well, right? The drunks, people, the men who can't put their cups down, right? Having lots of sex, right? And then there's the Queen of Wands, she's the hoe, right? She's the hoe witch, right? She wants to have all the sex. She's very lustful. Four of Wands, that's society, right? And then there's the Four of Cups. These people have self-serving disinterest. Self-serving disinterest. God offers them a cup from heaven, You know, let's have a relationship. No, no, thanks God. We're more interested in the Ten of Coins, the Ten of Pentacles. You know, we're materialistic. We want money, right? You know, the Wheel of Fortune, Destiny, the Magician, right? The Nine of Cups, Page of Coins, King of Wands, Two of Cups, the Lovers, the Emperor, Five of Coins. So so this is talking about the man, right? So probably Neringa's husband, or maybe it's talking about Patrick, one or the other. And then there's the Five of Coins. So this is talking about left out in the cold, or losing money, or not going to church. You're not part of the church. You're Five of Coins. You're outside of it. What this looks like is Page of Coins, King of Wands, Two of Cups, the Lovers, the Emperor, Five of Coins, Death. Page of Swords. It's always difficult when people do so much witchcraft to read into what they've done, because they try to mask everything they do. I didn't realise Neringa was such a big player in this, but clearly she is. Bitch hiding in my blind spot. Yeah. Nine of Cups, Page of Coins, King of Wands, Two of Cups. It's just, so many women, don't they? They don't want a man. They say 80% of women only want 20% of men, right? Where does that come from? Who decided that then? Who influenced them, right? Where does all the hate come from? Whose mind have they tapped into? Neringa's? King of Wands, Two of Cups, the Lovers, the Emperor, Five of Coins. So someone's left out in the cold. I've been left out in the cold, and nobody wants to go to church. No one loves God. There you go. Death. Yeah, the Scorpio card. That's me. I'm Scorpio. Yeah. So there's the death. The it's death or transformation. Page of Swords. Three of Coins. The Sun. Nine of Swords. So you see, the witches, right? The Page of Swords, right? You Three of Pentacles. People working together to fulfill their dreams, yeah, their happiness, their sun. What the light that it's the darkness, right? The Nine of Swords, Two of Pentacles, Six of Coins, the High Priestess, Eight of Cups, the Hermit, Ten of Cups, Five of Cups. So all kinds of evil shit's happening. So sex dungeons, sex trafficking. People who doing all kinds of sex magic rituals, all kinds of shit like that. Yeah, you can thank the godless cunts who try to do witchcraft against me. You can thank them for that. Yeah, you can. So, let's do a fresh reading for Neringa, okay? Let's do another reading for her. It might be a bit clearer this time, I think. Okay, first card. Two of Cups. You see that? Yeah, you see two people drinking together. They're a couple. Okay? Two of Cups. Five of Swords. So there's some sort of defeat. You see? There's a defeat. Like there's been some sort of battle of the minds. The swords have to do with communication. There's been some sort of defeat. And then there's the Lovers card. And then there's the Queen of Coins. So, I call her the Queen of Dirt, right? Because obviously the coins, the pentacles, represent Earth, right? The Queen of Mud. Or maybe she's a very rich woman. Well, that's what she is. She's a Queen of Mud. She's a Queen of Dirt. Filthy whore who only loves money. And then there's the Six of Coins. So this, you see there's the giving of it's like giving to the poor, but it means sharing, right? It means sharing, trading. And then we got the Wheel of Fortune. So this is about destiny and fate. Ten of Wands. You see this, right? The Ten of Wands. Very interesting card, right? Obviously this has its own depiction of it, right? But you see there's that bird. It's like a raven or a crow, right? And then you see all these trading. This is a trader, right? He's a trader. You see, these are candlesticks. This is what you see on, if you trade Bitcoin, for instance, right? And you see how he's completely fucking exhausted. Yeah, he looks like he wants to fall down and die. Yeah. Well, you see, the Ten of Wands, it could mean you're having hardcore sex. Or maybe you're a Bitcoin trader who's lost his fucking mind and lost all his money. Which one are you? What are you? And that's the thing, right? Because years ago, when I first started trading Bitcoin, I almost lost, I lost all my money. Yeah. I quit my job for 3 years to become a Bitcoin trader. And that's when everything fell apart for me. And that's when I found out, that's when I got attacked by demons. I'm surrounded by them, by the way. Trying to keep me trapped. And this is going to massively fucking backfire on the world. Neringa, Patrick, especially, for doing this to me. I never fucking betrayed them, but all they ever did was betray me. Lying shitheads. Alright, here's the Death card. Yeah? Death. And then there's the King of Coins card. Okay, so that's a rich man, he's a rich man, right? I mean, I'm the King of Swords. Most definitely. The King of Coins, well, I should be king of the planet. I should, that's the thing. But, who's it talking about? Then we got the Empress. And then the Ace of Swords. So that's to do with logic and communication, probably. And then we got the Chariot. So Patrick, a Cancerian, yeah. In this deck, it depicts a motorbike. But the Chariot is obviously a car. It's the bed. It's where the fucking takes place, yeah. And then there's the Five of Wands, right? So this is a really fascinating card, right? So the Five of Wands is depicted as, you know, it's people, it's all these people with their wands having a magic battle, right? They're all waving their, trying to hit each other with their wands. And in this card, well, I don't know if you can see, but let me just turn up the brightness for you so you can actually see. Right, can you get a bit more fucking light here, please? Fuck. Wow, this shit's so annoying. Hang on a sec. Where the fuck is the... Hang on a sec. You know what? Whatever. Just... I'm very angry today. I really am. So, you see in this card, it shows this person sitting in a chair in front of their computer, right? And you see, well, there's all these animals and surrounding this person in the chair. And then on the screen, it says victory. It says victory. But, you know, Five of Wands, it's basically, it's just people having a magic battle. Okay? And then there's the Six of Wands. That's all about having sex. Yeah? See, the Six of Wands is the victory card. But, you see, it's about riding horses. Yeah? You know what a whore is, don't you? Right? It's almost the same word as horse. Yeah? Is it too hard to get that through your stupid fuck thick and your thick fucking skull of a... You fucking cunt. I hate you. Two of Wands. Two of Wands, so that's, you know, planning, it's dominion, it's anal sex, it's sodomy. All of those things all mixed together. Just to keep things nice and simple, of course. Yeah. And then there's the Judgment. What is judgment? I'm God. What is judgment? Tell me, what's judgment? What is it? What the fuck does that word mean to you? See, the world loves to judge me. But you see, I'm the one who judges everybody. I'm God. If I'm saying your ass is dead, you're dead. If I say you get to live, then that will happen. Then you've got the High Priestess. You know, she's good at things like smoking weed and giving blowjobs. That's what the High Priestess is usually, yeah. The Hanged Man. You know, oh yeah, who was that person I used to hang out with? Oh yeah, the Hangman. You know, you heard of, you know, Sodom and Egypt, yeah? Bondage and anal sex, yeah? Have you ever read a Bible? No? I suppose if you're a Catholic, well, you probably haven't. You couldn't give a shit, could you? Because that's generally what being a Catholic means, right? You don't care. And there's the Three of Wands. You know, if you're a Catholic, then you worship Mary, which is who I hate. She's my enemy. She's going to destruction, and all those who follow her going the same way. And then there's the nine of coins. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles. And then there's the Queen of Cups. And then there's the Fool. Wasn't that the first card that came out in the last reading? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? So who's the Queen of Cups then? Is she some nurturing, loving woman? Or is she just some sex magician whore? Yeah, I think it's the sex magician whore. Yeah. Probably. Yeah. And then there's the Ten of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles. Yeah. And then there's the Ace of Cups, the Tower, and then there's the Page of Wands, and then there's the Star, and then there's the Nine of Cups, Nine of Potions, whatever. And then there's the Knight of Wands. Yeah, someone wants to get it on. Someone wants to go for a ride. And then there's the World. And the Eight of Swords. Yeah, that's an interesting card, isn't it? And then the King of Cups. The World, Eight of Swords, King of Cups. Well, that's the thing. I'm God. I am the King of Cups. And the World, there's the Eight of Swords too. The World, Eight of Swords. Yeah, you see that woman? Yeah? See that spider? Yeah? See, demons, they spy on me. And they work with witches to talk shit about me endlessly, all day long, doing all kinds of magic, doing all sorts of weird fucking witchy things, right? You know, you might be conscious of what you're doing, you might not even be conscious of what you're doing, but if you don't love me, you're my enemy. You work with demons. So, what does this say? Two of Cups, Five of Swords, the Lovers, Queen of Pentacles, Six of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, Ten of Wands, Death. So this, you know, to me, this sounds like Neringa and her husband. You know, they're into some hardcore sex, right? 10 of Wands sex, right? So, you know, when people try to mimic that, well, that leaves them in this kind of a state, right? Their life falls apart. Because, see, not everyone gets to have hardcore 10 of Wands sex. And so people want to try to be in that energy because they want to share in that energy, but their life falls apart, right? And then obviously there's the Death card, right? And then there's the King of Coins, the Empress, Ace of Swords. So, you know, they're thinking or communicating, or the Chariot, Five of Wands. So there's this Six of Wands, Two of Wands, Judgment. So so the Ace of Swords. So this, so the King of Coins and the Empress. So I guess that's Neringa and her husband. The Chariot. And so they think that the bedroom is all about competition. It's a fucking competition, right? So you need to fuck better than everyone else. You need to be the victor, right? So you want to be victorious, right? Do lots of dirty shit. Judgment, the High Priestess, the Hanged Man. So the Hanged Man, yeah, you're definitely doing sodomy. Three of Wands, yeah, that's definitely sodomy. Nine of Coins. Ace of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles. Queen of Cups, right? The Fool. So all sex magic. Totally materialistic. Sodomy, douching, enemas, all that shit, Freemason societies, secret societies, they're counting on people like Neringa to do the dirty work for them. Yeah? That's what happens, right? That's why the Freemasons, they do all their magic bullshit, right? And then they count on the public following suit, doing the same fucking thing. Yeah? Who's fool are you? Huh? Ten of Coins, yeah. Three of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, the Tower, Destruction, Page of Wands, the Star, Nine of Cups. Yeah, the Star, Nine of Cups, Knight of Wands, the World, Eight of Swords, King of Cups. So, the world conspires. The reason there's so much sex trafficking in this world and pedophile rings and stuff like that, well, you can thank Neringa, you can thank Patrick, you can thank Neringa's husband, you can thank all the tarot readers you see on YouTube, you can thank the politicians, you can thank Donald Trump, yeah, you could thank my aunt and uncle, yeah, Christine and Donald, Neil, you can thank my cousin Andrew, you can thank my deadbeat dad called Charlie, who lives up in Scotland, who I haven't seen for 20 years. Yeah, you can thank him as well. Yeah, you can thank them all. That's, your world's getting completely fucking obliterated by fucking sickos, by fucking crazy people. And you know why it's happening? Because you all hate me. I'm good, and you don't fucking like me. You don't love me, and you never fucking will. And I fucking hate you. And there's no changing that now. That's finished. Okay? That's finished. I'm going to have a cigarette. And then I'm going to have a quick closing message. I should mention this, right? Because that Australian channel, which is called Chosen 144, they just recently uploaded a videos. There were two videos, one of his wife and one of him. It was an AI video where they're in like a little tiny little car and they're driving it in a house and they're getting chased by a giant cat. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I drive a Jaguar F-Type R, right? You see, the car in magic, the car is central to the idea of heaven, right? Because I'm God, and my bed is where I'm happiest. That's where I'm supposed to be happiest. That's where my justice is supposed to take place, right? Yeah, I'm supposed to have love. And you see man and woman, right? The haters of God, they want to steal my bed. They think they can take that. They want to sneak their way into my bed, God's bed, and then pretend that they're God. I mean, what do you think the story is? So there's the whore of Babylon, yeah? I mean, go to a Catholic church, what do you see? You see a statue of Mary holding what, they say it's Mary. I mean, it's just a statue of a woman. They say that's Mary, and she's holding what looks like a baby. Yeah? I mean, it's a statue made of stone or whatever, right? And then next to it, there'll be Jesus on a crucifix, dead. Yeah, so the whore of Babylon, there's that woman, she sits a queen, she doesn't, her husband is dead. She doesn't, that's the story, isn't it? That's what it is. The bitch sits a queen, and she pretends like her husband doesn't exist. Basically, what she's done is done a lot of binding witchcraft, magic, against me, to try to prevent me from ruling, to try to prevent me from being acknowledged by the world. I will be acknowledged, or there won't be any world left. I created this world. I can destroy it as well. So, closing message for this video. Eight of Swords. Yeah. Eight of Swords. There's a woman and she's trapped. And there's that big, there's that spidery thing above, right? It's like a robot spider. Eight of Swords. And then we have the moon. So, okay, so this represents a crucifix. The crucifix is, the crucifix is associated with Sodom and Egypt. The moon is associated with the arse. This is Eight of Swords. This is associated with BDSM, bondage, Egypt, sex, magic practitioners. Why do you think people are so excited? Why do you think it's become so popular in the last 10 or 20 years? In fact, I remember, actually, when the book came out, 50 Shades of Grey. Neringa was reading it. I remember that. Yeah. I remember Patrick telling me about it. I mean, that's the thing, right? Because I think before even Patrick and Neringa, I think I was already doing stuff like, I was already sort of into that kind of stuff. But the thing is, I'm God. You're not. You're not. Yeah. You're not. You don't exist anymore. You understand? And then there's the 5 of coins. So, you know, these people, they're outside of the church. Yeah? You're outside of the church. So let's run that again, right? So 8 of swords. Yeah? The moon. Yeah, what is the moon? Well, it ain't the sun, is it? It ain't the sun. I said I'm the light of the world. But what the fuck is the moon then? It ain't the light of the world. It's just a big fucking rock, isn't it? And then there's the people who don't go to church. Okay? You're out of it. You're nothing. That's it.